Hey guys, this is Dan with Gears and Gadgets. Thanks for tuning in. So what I'm doing today is I'm actually going to be installing an intercooler from CV Fabrication. This truck started having some kind of strange issues, which I might have actually isolated down to a PCV valve, but not before going down the rabbit hole of OEM intercoolers and also blow-off valves, which I'll be replacing on this truck as well. So I'm going to pull the OEM intercooler off. I do want to do the unboxing in the studio to be able to compare the new intercooler to the OEM. Now, first things first, there is a little connector here for the stock blow-off valve. Pull that off.
Sorry, I can't do that in that app.
I don't remember asking you a god thing. You were saying?
I'm actually going to disconnect all my hoses also so that when I come to pull this out, it just all comes out together. This air dam, factory air dam, is garbage. I might just pull it off. It just keeps getting stuck. And no matter how many times I try to fix it, I cannot get it fixed. So I'm probably just gonna pull this off. Maybe try to get it replaced under warranty, but it is hot garbage. So I wanted to bring this into the studio for a proper unboxing to compare the differences between the OEM intercooler and the CV Fabrication. This is the Titan V2. It fits 2015 to 2022 F-150s. My truck is the 3.5 Powerboost hybrid. Now, I did reach out to CV Fabrication. I found them because I started going through the rabbit hole of forums, drilling the hole in the intercooler. I'll link in the description down below. You can go down that rabbit hole if you choose. So that is how I found these guys. I did want to upgrade the intercooler nonetheless because I am here in Phoenix, Arizona, where the ambient air temperatures push up to 120 in the hottest parts of the summer, and there's plenty of months where it's just average over 100 every day. And being an air-to-air intercooler, I did want to make that upgrade. So again, I do have an affiliate link with CV Fabrication down below, and I do thank them for sponsoring this video. So let's go ahead and get this unboxed and show you guys the differences between the OEM intercooler and CV Fabrication. This is much heavier than the OEM, and that is because it is much more substantially built. This thing is a monster. Now with the V2, the one thing they did add, which is nice, is a little drain hole here. So if you did want to drain out the intercooler, you can do that. A lot of people take the OEM intercooler, as I did over here. What you may or may not be able to see is drill a little hole to allow some of the oil and gunk that builds up over time in the intercooler. This allows you to drain it out, which is a very nice feature. Now the big thing is the surface area. This is substantially bigger. Dare I say almost twice. The OEM is 3 inches, and this is 5, just under 5.5, 5 1/4. So you are getting significantly more air cooling. And the name of the game with these intercoolers, because they are air-to-air, is just having more surface area to remove the heat from that air. Let's go ahead and get everything swapped over. Now you do have to take the hot and the cold side piping off of the OEM intercooler and swap it over to the CV Fabrication, so we're going to do that now. And this truck only has 16,000 miles on it, which is why you're not seeing a whole lot of crud or buildup. I actually think that I was having a PCV valve problem on the truck, which I am switching out now. If that doesn't solve the issues I was having, then I will be taking it into the dealer because I do think I'm having some other issues. I'll get into that in a separate video. But again, that is how I got into this whole situation here of doing this project to begin with. normally what you would do if you would like to is keep the OEM blow-off valve, but I am going to be switching this over to the Turbo Smart. This is the V-port that actually just clips in to the OEM wiring harness. Again, the V-port, pretty nice unit, pretty stout. And this is a vent to atmosphere setup. So it did require a little bit of muscling in there. And then there is a bracket here. So that is the installation. The blow-off valve is on, all of my piping is on, and now we can go ahead and throw it in the truck. This is beautiful compared to the OEM. It's kind of a shame it's pretty much hidden, but what a beast. It's always good to check everything over because one of these grommets I did not flop over. So that's got to go back on top of there. It's always good to look at everything, check it twice before you put it in there and realize it's not going to work. Let's go ahead, take her out to the garage. These are the active shutters. I'm going to pull this off. It's pretty clear that that's going to be a clearance issue. So, like most things, we have a problem, which is the Powerboost, which has this pedestrian warning device, and that's in the way. And they don't make that bracket easy to get out. Break off, straight down. So out here on the road, I have to say that it's not nearly as loud as I thought it would be in terms of the blow-off valve, the Turbo Smart blow-off valve, but for an everyday driver who's not out trying to, trying to make it sound crazy, it's like the perfect balance between it's there but not excessive. So if I get on the throttle right now, I heard it blow off. Now the blow off inside the truck doesn't sound that aggressive, but if I roll the window down, it's much louder with the windows down. These trucks now have so much sound deadening to keep engine noise out of the vehicle. So with the windows down, you can definitely hear it. The people around you can definitely hear it. That I put an overlay on here that shows you what the active shutters are doing. Those are the shutters for the intercooler. The reason I left those on, I know a lot of people say that they can be removed or should be removed, but trying to use this truck in an everyday, all environments sort of scenario. Now in terms of any performance gains from the blow-off valve, I'm not sure what's really to be gained there, to be totally honest with you. It's a little bit of a cool factor, I think. Now there are some concerns about the OEM blow-off valve setup having some issues. It's all basically plastic construction, so it is a lot nicer to go to a billet aluminum type setup. It does seem to be a lot more stout in terms of construction, so there's, I guess, some benefits in terms of longevity. If the OEM were to fail, it could cause some premature failures with turbos, things like that. So it's certainly something that has value, but you would have to assess that value yourself if it's worth upgrading. You don't have to do it in this CV Fabrication upgrade, but when you have it all apart, it is nice to make that change as well. So that is my take on the TurboSmart V-Port. Certainly the easiest way to upgrade that blow-off valve, and I'm happy that I did it. But I will be interested to see if this thing tows better with this new intercooler, and it's going to be all anecdotal. I don't have sensors hooked up to be able to find the charge air temperatures. I will link a video to the Miser brothers who did a similar video, and they did have a charge air temperature reading that you can see over there. I do have an OBD2 code reader that does hook into all of the OEM sensors, but I cannot find that specific PID to pull those temperatures, so I'm gonna have to just run with anecdotal evidence, I suppose, for these videos. With that being said, I am very happy with the quality of this intercooler from CV Fabrication. The build quality seemed great. A couple things to look out for is on this truck, this is the hybrid, you do have the pedestrian sounder speaker that I will tell you, take it off before you do this intercooler because it will not fit. I deactivated mine through Forescan. I am going to reactivate it after I hook up. I have some switches here. This will be a future video. This is actually just roughed in for the time being. The pedestrian sounder speaker was very annoying, to me at least, in the situations that I use my truck. So I deactivated it, but I am going to relocate it and hook it up to a switch so that I can activate it should I find myself in scenarios, maybe crowded parking lots or anything like that, where you're in these very, very crowded parking lot situations that you might want to reactivate it. But 95% of my driving, I just don't need it. In my neighborhood, I don't need it. I can see what's in front of me, and I'm just not that worried about it. But I did have to remove it to fit this intercooler, and I'm personally okay with that. I can already see the comments down below of people, which I don't totally disagree with, concerned about doing so. Also, the active air dam, I would say you're better off to remove it for this installation. I removed mine because it needs to be replaced anyways. It's been broken, it's been catching. So for what it's worth, after going through it, I think the appropriate steps, if you have the active air dam, remove that first. It'll make your life easier. Certainly probably necessary for the install of the CV Fabrication intercooler. You should be able to reinstall it after the fact. I don't see any clearance issues there. The pedestrian sounder certainly is going to have to be relocated for sure, an absolute issue there. So aside from that, those are the only two issues I had. I will be coming back with a follow-up video on this after I take my return trip to LA to return that bike that I have on loaner for the time being. And I'll come back and do a follow-up video on this intercooler. So guys, thank you very much for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, please hit that subscribe button down below. Remember, likes go a long way to help support the channel. I will see you next time.